just have to say, Dr. Thompson, it is so good to see you, my brother. Well, good evening, and thank you all for having me here tonight. I am sincerely humbled by being asked to do this because I consider this a great honor. My goal for tonight is to inspire you and to encourage you. So let's see how I do with this, shall we? So when I was first asked to do this, I thought about what to do, and I first thought, well, maybe I'll just stand up here and tell a bunch of my awesome jokes. Because, you know, I got a million of them, right? But then I thought, well, maybe I should take this a little more serious. And my thoughts went to my favorite genre of movies, the Westerns. And specifically, I went to one of my all-time favorites, the John Wayne version of True Grit. And what I was thinking was, what is true grit? And after thinking about that, I formulated an answer that I put into an acronym. And it goes like this. The acronym is gratitude, resolve, integrity, and thoughtfulness. And that's what I want to go through with you tonight, beginning with gratitude. So the journey that I've been on the past few months has taught me a ton about gratitude. Cancer and all of its treatments, it's just all bad. It destroys your body, and my experience has been no exception to that. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse, it does. More side effects of all the treatments come your way. And let me tell you, it's just no fun. It stinks. And that's actually a nice way of putting it. But through all of the pain and suffering that I've been through, the one thing that I've held on to that has kept me going through it all has been being grateful that my wife Tiffany and my two boys, Jonah and Jacob, were not. When the pain came, I was grateful that I was feeling it and they weren't. But I'm also grateful for all of the love, prayers, and support that I have received from all of you, for which I will never be able to adequately express how much I appreciate all of it. And there's also all these things that for a long time I've been unable to do that we all just take for granted. For example, when I sit at our desk, I can look out our window and I can see people driving by. I can see people walking by, see people riding bikes, pushing strollers, feeding the ducks across the street, shooting hoops, going back and forth from the pool, all that kind of stuff, right? And I wonder, are they grateful for the ability they have to do all of these things? You see, for a long time, I couldn't do any of that, literally. Because my worst tumors were in my sternum and my clavicles, I couldn't raise my arms for the longest time. And because of that, what it meant was I couldn't bathe myself, I couldn't dress myself, I couldn't even feed myself some days, and I couldn't even get in and out of bed by myself. Which meant all of a sudden, I didn't take any of those things for granted. And I'll never take them for granted again. Do you know I went 64 days without being able to put a t-shirt on by myself? That's a true story. And then when I was finally able to do that again, I turned to my wife Tiffany and I said, "Look, honey, I'm a big boy now." Sometimes the simple things aren't so simple. So guess who had to take care of all these things for me? Yeah, my wife Tiffany. Talk about somebody to be grateful for. I wouldn't be here without her. Honey, thank you. I love you very much. After all of my radiation treatments, I ended up with a burned esophagus, a burned trachea, and burned lungs. They described it to me as if all those spots just had gotten a severe sunburn. I couldn't eat or drink because my esophagus was so bad, and it got to the point where I couldn't breathe because my lungs were so bad. And let me tell you something, that is a frightening experience, to be trying to go through the motions of breathing and your lungs aren't working. So let me ask you a question. Are you grateful for the breath in your lungs? Are you grateful for the ability to eat and drink? Are you grateful for your mobility? Are you grateful for the ability to bathe and dress yourself? For your friends, for your home, for your health, for your family? You know, I could do this all night. But the bottom line is I cannot encourage you strongly enough to live your life with an attitude of gratitude, because it'll change your life. I know, because it's changed mine. So that's G. We'll move on to now resolve, which is our R. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this directly towards fulfilling your purpose in life. And what I want you to do, especially you young folks, I want you to get this, because so many people get this wrong. If you want to experience happiness, if you want to be content and experience a life that has satisfaction, I think I said happiness already. I'll say it again anyway. Oh well. But if you want to experience a life with all of those things, you have to be living within the purpose for which you were designed. So many people get this backwards, and they end up with just the opposite of that. They end up frustrated, they end up anxious, discontent, they end up unhappy, and let me tell you something, that's no way to live. Sadly, for most people here in America, they set out to make a living doing something that will earn them a good salary. They go to college for a career that will earn them the money that will empower them to do that. But they put the money first, and their passion goes on the back burner. But then years down the road, they realize they're unhappy with it all. They don't even like what they're doing in their careers. And I said that that applies to most Americans. Let me tell you something. I recently saw a statistic that showed between 80 and 90% of American workers are unhappy in their careers. Folks, that's an enormous number. And it's because they did it backwards. They set out to make a living, or they set out to make a good living, but now they're in no way living good. There's another Western that I love, in which Kevin Costner makes the following statement. There are things that gnaw at a man worse than dying. That's not only a true statement, but this is the biggest reason why right here. To be living outside your purpose. To be not doing what you were designed to do. So please hear me on this and don't get it backwards. The best way to approach this is to first figure out what your passion and purpose are. Figure out what your hands were designed to do. And after that, figure out a way to make a living at it. So now let me apply that to the word resolve. Once you figure out what that is, spend the rest of your life doing that. Hang on to your passion and purpose with white knuckles and don't let it go. That's something that I want all of you to experience. I want you to be living good and not get caught up in the trap of trying to make a good living. You want a life that's fulfilling, a life filled with peace and satisfaction and happiness. And if you live within your design, if you follow your purpose and passion, that's exactly what you'll end up with. So that's G and R. Let's move on to I, integrity. Of all the extracurricular things I discuss in the classroom, integrity is at the top of the list. And why? Because there is simply no substitute for it. As I always tell you, everything you are, everything you do, stems from your integrity. It is the essence of who you are. It is the most important thing you have in life, which is why you simply cannot compromise your integrity, ever, no matter what, even when life gets hard. Because it will at times, and boy do I know that now. That's when you have to maintain your integrity and respond appropriately. Stay in there, give it your all, never quit, never back down. It makes it even more fulfilling when you battle through tough times with integrity and come out victorious on the other side. I'm never going to quit on my current battle, and I will never do so in any of my future battles. And you can't either. So live with integrity that never quits. So that's GR and I. On to the last one, T, thoughtfulness. And I can think of no better way to describe thoughtfulness than all of you here tonight. And the way that you have responded to my battle with cancer. You have all been so thoughtful, and it has been so encouraging and so uplifting to me, it literally strengthens me. I have been the beneficiary of so much thoughtfulness, it has been absolutely overwhelming in a good way. From all the cards that I've received, which are still hanging on my walls in my house, by the way, to the prayers, to the texts, to the emails, to the t-shirts and bracelets, it's just been absolutely amazing. Your thoughtfulness has shown me that I am not alone and that I am truly loved. And I want you to know that it has changed me immeasurably. You see, thoughtfulness has the ability to not only change you, but others also. Which is why that's another characteristic you want to incorporate into your life, and that's why it ended up as the T in my acronym for True Grit. So by explaining what I think true grit is, I hope I succeeded in my goal tonight of inspiring and encouraging you. And lastly, I just want to say, may God truly bless you as you embark on the next phase of your journey in life. Thank you all very much.